It's Matchday 19 picks edition of the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use the code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. Welcome, everybody, to the Premier League Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. My name is Malcolm Bamford, coming to you from a very windy but very festive Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England. Today is December the 24th. And just before we started, I even had to ask Barry the date, even today. It's Christmas Eve. I still had to ask him the date. But yeah, very festive for several reasons. I'm sitting here roasting my nuts over an open fire, but our co-host is about to come round to your living room and empty his sack all over it in the next 6 hours. Santa hat on. There's plenty winners in the comments because Barry's gone berserk. He's got a fake yellow card and a bottle of champagne in his other hand. Barry Penaluna, how you doing? What's the crack?
I'm doing very well, Malcolm. I've never been better. Best pick ever.
That's strong.
Never been better. Honestly, the kids have been relegated. I think they got a little bit confused as to why I was dancing around the living room 20 minutes ago. As Conor Gallagher picked up his yellow card.
Yeah.
So anyone who listened last week and got to the end, you had to wait to the end for the good stuff, Malcolm. Or on my TikTok live where I put it out as well. Put a yellow card treble out. Bruno Fernandes, tick. Ben White, tick. Conor Gallagher we were waiting for today. 30 minutes, didn't let us down. 44-1. Absolutely smashed it. And getting a few messages from people who have been on it, which is really good. I know Frank was on it. You said Pat was on it. I've had quite a few messages on TikTok from people who took it. It was 44-1. I did say to take the doubles as well. So if you took the doubles down, you would have got paid out on all three of your doubles at 10, 12-1 for each of those as well. So anyone that took all of it has absolutely smashed it. But absolutely great way to start Christmas. I'll be honest, Chelsea Wolves wasn't a game I was looking forward to. It wasn't a bet I particularly fancied on that game. I took the overs. That's turned out to be shite as it stands. But I suddenly had a lot of interest in it this morning. And I was feeling the pressure a little bit.
Sorry, I'm just live watching. We said we'd watch the Wolves game live, and the keeper's just made a world-class save for Chelsea, because I've backed Wolves here as well. Sorry, Baz.
I was feeling the pressure a little bit because a few people had messaged this morning saying they were waiting for this Conor Gallagher card to cap off a fine weekend. So glad everyone got on it. Everyone that got on it cashed it. Love it when out like that hits. It's not very often, Malcolm, we put out 40-1 parlays.
Is that a show record, do you think?
It's got to be. I can't remember us hitting a 40-1 before. You know, we've hit underdog doubles where you've picked an underdog and I've put an underdog, but we haven't named it as a double. But yeah, you know, it was put there as doubles and trebles, and happy days.
Indeed. The chat, there's loads of people in here, but it kind of split between people who are saying, yes, I backed it, and people are saying, I can't believe I didn't bet it. I'm in the second camp, as I never bet your trebles. And
I thought Brian would have been on it.
Sorry?
I thought Brian would have been, because whenever we do hit any of the sort of fancy stuff, Brian tends to be on it. So disappointed for Brian not getting on.
Brian said it's the first one he hasn't backed in ages. Michael Hurst, a.k.a. TikTok Santa Claus. He was first in the chat. Hello, Michael. And he's got involved. So, yeah, happy days for Michael. Shane, I said to Barry, is that the Australian lad? And I think I just racially profiled you, Shane. Just because you're called Shane, I just decided you were Australian. So apologies for that. But he forgot to back the card, treble. Like I said, I know Frank Gallagher, you said, had a bit of quite a lumpy bet on it, Baz, did Frank. Frank might have taken home 4 figures for Christmas, at least. Pat, like I say, Pat Foster this morning. Who else is in? Slick Rick, Serial, Tom Cream, Iceman. Rubble 67. Is that another TikToker, Baz?
He's another TikToker, Rubble 67. He was on the on the card. So cheers for joining in here.
So Shane lives just around the corner from us, so he's not from Australia, even a little bit. But I think even without that parlay, Baz, whatever, because we have people who might just be the single unit betters, but we hit a lot of stuff. I've got up to, with one game live, so 8 units, I'm up to nearly 13. So chipped away with just the single unit stuff. Chipped away with the goal scorers for Charlison. First goal was my pick, 6-1, and then any time, obviously. And then we've had the fancy price stuff as well. So whatever you were after, we've managed to turn up some winners. So if you stay tuned to the end, get a load of this, Barry. I have got what price is this? Oh, was that last week's? I've got a 262-1, Baz. And Wolves have scored. Here we go. Get in the queue. Come on! We can't miss, Baz. You know when your luck's just in? Rangers Motherwell, lunchtime today. This is one for Coisty here. I took the under 2.5 goals. Rangers score after 3 minutes and 16 minutes. I thought I'm obviously dead. I then turn it back on 91 minutes. It's still 2-0. Kid from Rangers goes down the keeper, slots it in injury time. Flag goes up, VAR. We're getting the queue. So I survived for 76 minutes. And now Wolves have gone one up. So it's one of those bars, it looks like. So yeah,
you're getting some grief from over the pond, Malcolm. You're spoiling Slick Rick and Serial said
shit.
The ball hadn't even crossed the line by the time you shouted it out on here.
That's normal. I'll tell you what.
Good luck, bad luck, Malcolm.
Yeah. I'm going to pause it. I'll pause it for 30 seconds, and then I'll restart it, and we'll be on American time then. So yeah, first thing I want to say, Barry, I've got some. I know people haven't got time to listen to me prattle on. I've got some lifestyle stuff, Baz. And the first thing, it's very important. I want to say there is no such thing as a light show. Fucking Aston Villa. Grow up. Yeah. Did you see that? What a load of shit.
I didn't see it live. I saw the tweet about it the night before, getting excited about the light show and telling everyone to download the app.
Yes,
I just put something on there, but put that in the bin. That's ridiculous. Save that for your Ed Sheeran concerts or your Taylor Swift concert.
Yeah.
Not for football, like.
Frank Gallagher is in the chat. I think he's 8 odd minutes late because he's had to drag his wallet with him. Frank's
joining me on the champagne, Frank. Yellow card for being late.
Secondly, I need to report myself to the Human Resources Department of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network for dereliction of duties in missing the 1-1 of the week. Crystal Palace v Brighton. I told you I was playing with scared money, Baz, and I picked both teams to score, so I landed a little bit. But then Pat pointed out, I think it was the last 5 games in a row finished 1-1 between the two teams. And sure enough, there it was, an obvious 1-1. So I'll report myself for that. And thirdly, Barry, there was an incident, Baz, 2 nights ago. We like an incident. Do you want to hear about the incident?
Yeah.
So I've gone out to work, all very standard. Took the casino out, and it was a CrossFit party, Baz. Are you aware of what CrossFit people are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they have CrossFit in America? I think they do.
I think it might be an American brand, to be honest.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
I think so.
So, yeah, CrossFit party, which wasn't itself, this isn't the incident. However, it is they're a bit of a cult, Baz. So they all turn up. They're all quite very glamorous, very good-looking people. All the women have got arms like my legs. They're all sort of big, bulky units. But that's fine. And it's very admirable, let me say, if you go to the gym, you want to improve yourself physically, mentally, I'm all for it. But they're just a little bit obsessed. It's a bit of a cult. So when they get there, they start with like a 45-minute fitness quiz, right? I mean, imagine that. You turn up at the Christmas party, Baz, and they get you to do a tax quiz. Like a national insurance quiz. No thanks. Right, question 1, which male in the gym can deadlift the most? Question 2, how many medicine balls are there in the fucking weight section? Shut up, man. So this went on for 45 minutes. And then when the actual shenanigans start, when they're having a drink and a dance, the coach warned them not to have too much buffet. So you weren't allowed to have what you want off the buffet. The coach was bollocking you for that. But when they start dancing, all they do, they just start doing burpees on the dance floor. And one bloke's bench pressing Stephanie. So poor Stephanie's getting passed around, just getting bench pressed over their heads. They're all a little bit obsessed. Nothing to do with the incident, Barry. Meg and Harry were there nice and early, set up. We had plenty of time to spare. So I've got 2 gin and tonics, me and Harry. 2 gin and tonics. Harry uses those, those little snus things.
Yeah.
Again, yeah, those little nicotine things. almost like snuff that you put into your lip. I don't know what they're called in America, but I think they have them. And he said to me, he said, this snus, he had a mint flavour. He said, this pairs really well with a gin and tonic. So it's a lovely like combination, you know. He said, you should try one. So when we just sit, so I said, okay, I'll try one. So I've got one and I stuck one in me lip, expecting very, very little reaction. Within 10 minutes, Barry, it sent me, and if you remember from Poland, the term full potato, it completely and utterly, one of those things under my lip. I couldn't walk, I couldn't speak. Harry had to literally carry, I'm trying to get to the toilet to be sick, but I fell over. So Harry and the barmaid are then carrying me out, Vietnam style, and the sweat was pouring off me. I had to sit in the corner like a daft lad with my hands on my knees for about an hour and a quarter until I came back round. Because I had one of these things under my lip for 15 minutes. What sort of carry-on's that, Baz?
I don't know. That's ridiculous. Apparently, it's really popular now amongst Premier League footballers. Apparently, they're all
said Kieran Trippier use it. He said once you start noticing it, you'll see it all over the place.
Yeah.
But I rolled my shirt sleeves up. And have you ever seen your arms sweat before? Like, I don't think I've ever seen my arms sweat. The sweat, I'm not kidding, was pooling on the floor around my feet. It was running down the back of my head. It was dripping off my nose, my arms. I could feel it running down my legs into my socks. It was absolutely wild, Baz. It was like I'd been fully witch doctored, like the shaman had got us. Like I'd have been on the ayahuasca for 3 days. One of them things for a couple of minutes. Absolutely wild. Serial Brian, Callum are all saying that, similar things. So I probably should have known a little bit better, Baz. I'm slightly more delicate than I gave myself credit for. So that's that. One other thing, Barry, I need to ask you about. I'm finding my air fryer, it's slightly too aggressive, Barry. There's no nuance to it. So I've tried me roast potatoes today for Christmas dinner. And they're all right, but it's just, you know, when you cook something in the oven, you get that sort of slow roasty. It's like you've given it a big cuddle. The air fryer's just like it frightens it into being cooked. It's got that little bit of burn about it. I'm not sure. And then I've done the same with my stuffing balls. I've tried out my stuffing balls, and there's, like I say, no nuance, Barry. Too aggressive. Any advice?
Turn the oven on for Christmas Day, Malcolm. You've got to go back to the oven. For me, I want the best roast potatoes. Like the air fryer is convenient and it does good things in the middle of the week. But on a Christmas Day, I want the best goose fat roast potatoes in there and the best stuffing. Yeah. I'll have the barbecue. The turkey will be on out the back on the rotisserie, spinning away first thing in the morning. The gammon will be on the barbecue tonight, but mostly for me will be on the oven. I would recommend that. Definitely for your roast potatoes. If you want the very best roast potatoes, you're right. The oven is where you've got to go.
All right, no bother. I will do that then. Like I say, it all just seems it's very harsh. It seems a harsh environment, Barry, does the air fryer. Right, we're going to make some picks because we're aware people probably haven't got an awful lot of time to listen to us talk bollocks over Christmas, and the games start nice and early on Boxing Day. So where we go first is, I'll tell you about Underdog Fantasy. An excellent way to play alongside your favourite fantasy players, NFL, NBA, NHL, college basketball and football. Pick higher or lower on your favourite teams, favourite players' fantasy stats and cash in. Watch along, make your picks and maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. When you sign up with the promo code SGPN, Underdog, double your first deposit up to $100. Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. It looks like we've gone early on the Guillotine League, but it looks like we're going to die. We've had two shockers in our early two. James Cook and Alvin Kamara might just have seen us chopped. So our looks run out there. But we're going to carry this football. It's not luck, Baz. We're very good judges. Into Tuesday, the 26th of December, 12:30 kick-off, a game I will be at. Are you going, Baz?
I am there, yes.
Oh, double bubble. Nibs is coming up. Nibs is our Nottingham Forest correspondent. He contributed on our pre-season Nottingham Forest show. So Nibs is coming up. So looking forward to a few light ales with Nibs as well. Like I say, 12:30, 7:30 Eastern Time kick-off. Newcastle are 1-2 minus 200. The draw is 130. Burton and Bertie plus 333. And Nottingham Forest are 5-1. Really, really tricky this, because you've got two teams in poor form and quite a lot of question marks. There's more questions than answers around these teams at the minute. Now, I watched Newcastle Luton yesterday, and we never really looked like scoring. We had a couple of half chances early on, but it was a poor performance. I still feel like we should have cashed the both teams to score. I was not delighted when Luton scored, but I thought my bet was a nailed on to cash when Luton scored. But as we keep saying, home Newcastle United is different to away Newcastle United. You have to handicap them as two different teams. Lascelles went off injured, which isn't a huge problem because Botman should come in with Shaw. Joe Linton's going to be available. So the team we have out is going to be very similar to the teams that have beaten better teams than Nottingham Forest, Chelsea, Man United. Well, I don't know if Chelsea are better than them. Man United, Arsenal, PSG, teams like that. So we're very capable of turning them over. And the Nottingham Forest result yesterday, you just got no help. You can't read anything into that. That awful red card, worst red card of the season, meant the game, therefore, was impossible to assess because you were looking to see what Nuno was going to do with the team. And all of that was taken away from you because the red card changes the game. And after that, it was absolute mayhem. I think it was 0-0 at half-time, finished 3-2 with an injury time winner. But just looking at it objectively, Baz, at the start of the game, before the mayhem, I saw he started Chris Wood and Divock Origi up front. Now, I don't care who's coming up here. If they've got Chris Wood and Divock Origi up front, we can keep clean sheets. We've kept clean sheets against Arsenal. We've kept clean sheets against, all right, that's right, Man United, Chelsea, Fulham, lots of teams. That doesn't frighten me, Baz. They're just not full of goals at all. Like I say, we got Botman and Shaw back. Newcastle eventually got to Fulham last time, but it took a little while. I'm going with the under, Baz. I think we'll beat them. I think we'll beat them 1 or 2-0. The under 2.5 goals is even money, but I'm not sure Forest have got a goal in them just yet.
Yeah, we've got a couple of picks out already. Shane fancies Toon Forest to be the 1-1 of the week, and Callum also thinks both teams to score. I'll be honest, Malcolm, as you know, we make a pick on every game. I would happily have just walked on by this game. So this is a pick that I have made purely with a gun to my head, and I don't like it. I don't want it. I've got the fear. Newcastle have been very, very poor. They papered over the cracks a bit with that win over Fulham. And I do wonder how that game would have panned out had they not have went down to 10 men early on. Because the 3-0 makes it look like it was another comfortable home win. Might not have been that way otherwise. We have said Newcastle home and away are two different prospects these days. But then you look at Newcastle at 1-2. Would I stick them in an accumulator tomorrow? I'm not sure. Forest, as you say, were unlucky yesterday. That red card was an absolute shambles. And then they almost come away with a point. Late winner from Solanke. So a horrible run of form continues. Just 1 win in 14 for them now. I thought the opposite of you. I thought maybe go for goals. But as I say, I'm really guessing at this game. I don't like it at all. I then thought, who's going to get goals for Forest? And you struggle with it with that point. So I went for Newcastle goals. It's my least favourite pick on the card, but I went for Newcastle to score in each half at 11-8. When I first looked at the game, I just thought I don't want to back Newcastle. I'm sick of them. They're not very good at the moment. I just couldn't find anything that really, really jumped out. And then I thought it is a home game. Boxing Day is always a massive atmosphere. I just hope we get into them early. We need a statement win after a rough couple of weeks. So yeah, it's a pick I've made reluctantly, but for me, Newcastle to score in each half at 11-8 against Nottingham Forest.
I don't know where our goals were going to come from, let alone theirs, because Wilson doesn't really look at it. And Isaac look miles off at the minute the last couple of games. So yeah, we'll see. But that's the Newcastle away form sort of creeping in. And the home form is entirely different. 3 o'clock kickoffs on Boxing Day. There are two. The first one is informed Bournemouth take on Fulham. Bournemouth 15-13 plus 115. The draw is 13-5 plus 260. And Fulham are 11-5 plus 220, Barry.
Yes. I will say some of my handicapping on these games is quite brief because I've just had other things going on.
Dancing around with that.
Mainly dancing around in the yellow card. Yeah, shouting at the telly all weekend. So this is quite a brief one. Bournemouth, Fulham, over 2.5 goals. 10 of the last 12 Bournemouth games have gone over 2.5. And at home, 5 of the last 6 Bournemouth have gone over 2.5. Fulham lost 2-0 yesterday, so went unders. That was the first game in 7 they had gone under 2.5. So there's plenty of form between the two teams. We know Bournemouth have got into some good form now. Fulham until yesterday had been full of goals. See the back-to-back shutouts for them now, the Newcastle game. And yesterday against Burnley, which was a surprise. But I think overall, two teams who do seem capable at the moment of finding the net generally. So quite an easy one. It's a short price, over 2.5 goals, Bournemouth, Fulham at 3-4.
Chelsea are turning the screw at the minute. They're camped in the Wolves box, can't get a goal. Yeah, Bournemouth 6 wins out of 8. The Forest game was nuts. Dominic Solanke's in really, really good form. But the home form's not brilliant. They won 2 out of 8 at home. And then you can add on to that, the last time there was half an hour or so in the game left, that was abandoned at 1-1. So they weren't leading that one either. And I just would good luck working out Fulham, because you've got back-to-back 5-0 home wins and then a 2-0 home defeat by Burnley. So I don't know what you're meant to do with any of that. Their away form's rubbish as well. 1-1 and drawn 3, lost 5. Game looks full of goals, Baz. So I've got 2 plays here. I'll give out this first one as my official play, which is the Bournemouth team total. Over 1.5 goals is even money. Even if they score 2, I'm not necessarily think that would be enough to win. Obviously, Bournemouth are a bit of a bigger price to win. But I prefer the team total, because 2-2, I think, is live here. So the Fulham team totals, the other one, Baz, would be another honourable mention play, because that's 6-4 plus 150. So I can say both teams getting a couple of goals here. I'll take Bournemouth as my official counting stats. But yeah, I'll throw Fulham in there as well at 6-4 to get over 1.5 goals themselves. Next up, the second 3 o'clock game is Sheffield United take on Luton Town. Sheffield United 13-10 plus 130. The draw is 23-10 plus 230. Luton 21-10 plus 210. Both of these teams are in competitive form. Sheffield United are clearly improving under Chris Wilder. Would be devastated not to get that win on whatever night it was against Aston Villa, Friday night, I think. Scored in the 87th, conceded in the 97th. And Luton have been decent for everyone. We've pointed this out on a weekly basis. Notably good against the teams around them. They've sort of competed with all the good teams and lost a lot of them by the odd goal until they turned Newcastle over the weekend. But they have been very, very good against the teams around them. And Luton have only failed to score twice in 14 games. Sheffield United have scored 4 of their last 5 at home. The Luton, both teams to score, has been cashing every week. I've been taking it every week. And it should have cashed. Newcastle should have scored. Luton did their bit, and somehow Newcastle failed to do their bit. I've got to take it again, Baz. Both teams to score. 9-10, minus 1-1-1. Could very possibly serial be the 1-1 of the week. He fancies that. I have got a 1-1 of the week coming up, though. It's not this one, but yeah, this one's very live for that title. Both teams to score, Baz.
Yeah, very similar notes and an exactly the same pick. Tough one because both teams are showing good signs of improvement recent weeks. I think it could be a competitive game. I think you've covered most of what I've said. Luton, that was their first clean sheet this season against Newcastle, so definitely one where I would lean towards goals, and the both teams to score was the standout pick for me as well. So same as you, Sheffield United, Luton, both teams to score.
5:30 kickoff, 12:30 Eastern Time. Burnley take on Liverpool. Burnley they were 6-1 into 11-2, so plus 550, nipped in half a point. The draw is 17-4 plus 425, and Liverpool are 2-5 minus 250. Barry.
Yeah, so a nice win for Burnley at the weekend against Fulham. I did not see that coming at all. Certainly not keeping a clean sheet. That was most unexpected. But a good win. But can I see him continuing any kind of form here? Not really. I've been quite down on Liverpool lately. I don't think they played particularly well. I thought they looked better yesterday. We haven't really talked about yesterday's games. I mean, we've mentioned that shambolic decision in the Notts Forest game. We should talk about that Liverpool decision. how Odegaard did not
Handball.
give away a penalty. That is absolutely unbelievable. I keep seeing it crop up again and again on Twitter, and every time I see it, it looks worse.
The rules have got so complicated, they forgot to include if you handball it, that's handball. There's like, they forgot about that. There's that many variations of the rule. It's like 1-1. If you handball it, it's handball. That's like rule 1, clause 1. But they seem to have forgotten that bit.
That was absolutely astonishing. I can't believe that. Mental. Anyway, back to the football. I think I found a bet I think I can get behind. I fancy Liverpool here. Serial's putting out Liverpool to score both halves. Callum Schultz is furious. Callum is a TikToker as well. He's a Liverpool fan. I'm backing Liverpool to do something they don't do very often, and that's win by 2 goals away from home. Only twice this season in the league have they done it, Sheffield United and Wolves. But they could be good comparison games for this one against Burnley on the road. And it's more the Burnley form line that's pushing me to this pick, because at Burnley, at home, they've been terrible. They beat Sheffield United 5-0 in a game where they played against 10 men for half of the game. That's their only points at home all season. They've got 3 points. So they've played 9, won 1 against Sheffield United, lost 8. And 6 of those 8 defeats have come by 2 or more goals. I can get Liverpool in the handicap at evens. That's going to be the pick for me. Liverpool to win by 2 or more at evens against Burnley.
I steered clear of all of that, Baz. Burnley's win, that was their first win against a non-promoted team, which was quite important. They had to do that at some point. They'd beaten Luton and Sheffield United before that. So it's their third win, but the first one against the team that didn't come up with them from the Championship. And slightly better form as well. So it's 2 wins in 5. They got that 1-1 at Brighton in there. But 4 in a row, under 2.5 for Burnley. Liverpool back draws, a 0-0 and a 1-1. They sneaked past Palace the time before that on the back of a lucky red card. So none of that made me interested in the handicap or the ladder. 3 of Liverpool's last 4 have gone under 2.5 as well. So Liverpool have slowed down a little bit. I've not seen enough in Burnley to want to back them at 6-1 or 11-2, whatever they are. The under 2.5, I was really happy with that pick yesterday in the Liverpool-Arsenal game. 17-10 bars, plus 170. Maybe Liverpool win this 2-0. That would be the correct. So that'll be going in me Super 6 and cashing the under 2.5. Massive price. 17-10 plus 170. Okay, we're going to move on to the tea time game. After I tell you about Hall of Fame bets, win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season. With Hall of Fame bets, it's a sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research NFL, NBA, and soccer bets with historical stats and data. Put any parlay ideas at the Hall of Fame bets parlay optimizer. You'll get hit rates broken down by leg, expected probabilities for the parlay, sort players by hit rates, find out who's hot, who's not, etc. Stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame bets app or visit hofbets.com. Use code SGPN to get 50% off your first month. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame bets. Boxing Day night is at 8 o'clock. Kick-off 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Manchester United host Aston Villa. It is a match on the books. 13-8 each of 2 plus 162, with the draw sitting at 5-2 plus 250. I've written 2 words next to this, Barry. Well, I've written 2 words next to Manchester United. Do you want to guess what they are? It's not very Christmassy, I'll be honest with you.
Aston Villa?
Nah, fuck off, it says. I've got no interest in backing them at all at 13-8. That, in fact, I wrote 3 words for the entire game. The first 2, I'm not going to repeat, I've just said them. And the third one is Villa. Villa 13-8. I don't need to explain. Honestly, it's the same old stuff. Back in Man United, you want your head examined. To be fair, Villa haven't been brilliant. And you've probably got a bit more on this, because you messaged me the other day saying every time you watch them, you're a little bit underwhelmed by Villa. But I don't care who it is. Bournemouth just went up there and absolutely smashed the granny out of them a couple of weeks ago. And Villa are better than them. And everyone who's been up there smashed the granny out of them, except Chelsea, who might be the worst team in the league. You have to back Villa. I don't care what the outcome is. The only course of action before the game is to back Aston Villa, Barry.
I mean, that was my starting point. I haven't went with Villa in the end. I found something else that I like as well. But I do like Villa to win it. I mean, Man United at Old Trafford against Villa, and Man United not favourites. Just shows how badly things are going for Man United and how well things are going for Villa. You're right, I haven't been that impressed with Villa lately. I don't think they're playing as well as their position in the league suggests. I just think don't get me wrong, I think they're right in the hunt for the top 4. I think any talk of a title push and things like that are a bit premature. That said, I think they should get a win here because Man United are absolutely terrible. I mean, it gets worse every time you watch them. You're more and more astonished. I seen that lineup the other day against West Ham. I took the unders. You took West Ham, and I fancied both straight away. There was that back 4 just looks embarrassing. Like absolutely awful. Malcolm is throwing his hands in the air. I'm sure there's almost been a goal.
Wolves side netting for Wolves. I'm looking for if they go 2-0 up, the instant payout if Wolves go 2-0 up. But yeah, it's all right. We're hanging on.
Back to Man United. Just 1 win in the last 7 in all competitions, and no goals scored in the last 4. They've scored just 18 goals in the league this season. 18 games, 18 goals. Only 1 team in the league has scored less than Man United. That's Sheffield United. Scored 13 goals. They've scored the same amount of goals as Burnley and Luton. It's absolutely astonishing that Man United can be up in 8th place at the moment.
Yeah, it really is.
With that sort of record, to be able to only score 1 goal a game on average. And now you've got Villa coming in unbeaten in 10 games, just 1 defeat in 17 in all competitions. And we've talked about how they're worse on the road. Villa at home, Villa away are very different things. But they aren't losing many on the road either. Just 1 defeat in 8 a game away from home in all competitions. So plenty of reasons to favour Villa. I like your bet. I think they're a decent price. I'd seen them at 8-5. I'd much rather be at the same prices. Why anyone would back Man United over Villa at the current time, I do not know. But I'm going back to where I went with Man United the weekend, and that's under 2.5 goals. Man United can't score. 3 in a row have gone under 2.5. They've scored the Man United games. They haven't scored any, but the last 3 games have had a combined 3 goals. And 4 of the last 5 games for Villa have gone under 2.5 goals. So 5-4 for the unders. And it's very rare I put an unders bet out, to be honest. I don't like cheering on an unders. But it cashed the other day, Man United, West Ham, and I think it'll cash again here. So Villa v Man United or Man United v Villa, under 2.5 goals at 5-4 plus 125.
The line movement against Manchester United the other day, Barry, was one of the wildest we've seen. Like we put the bet out before the game. Just trying to look back through my notes here. West Ham, Man United. It was plus 160, yeah. A couple of days before. I then backed it on Friday night at plus 160. Woke up and they were 5-4, plus 125. And it was obviously must have been talk about a bit of team news. Then the team news did come out, and you said they went into even money, West Ham. They had the kid, this is Manguala, played centre back. So yeah, some of the wildest line movement we've seen on that one. Serial fancies 2 bets in that, so we'll leave that one there. Right, next up we'll go for a. Mafia, by the way. Mafia's just joined the chat. Mafia's coming across from. Is he coming across from California or something?
Canada, I think he said.
Where?
Canada, I think.
Canada, that's near California, isn't it? Down the road on the map. Coming across for the Newcastle Manchester City game. So yes, Mafia, we will have a pint. Just get in touch. And Duke says, "Happy holidays here, Duke. How are you?" We go to. What day is this all happening? Wednesday, the 27th. All in the night time, 7:30, 2:30 Eastern time. Brentford take on Wolverhampton Wanderers. Brentford 9-10, -111. The door's 5-2, plus 250. Wolves 16-5, plus 320. Barry.
Brentford, obviously coming into this one a bit fresher because they didn't have a game this week due to Man City being away on their travels for the World Club Cup. They weren't in good form prior to this little mini break they've had. 5 defeats in the last 6 games. I don't think Wolves are playing very well either. Although, obviously, at the time of writing these notes, they hadn't played. They're currently looking like they might nick a win against Chelsea. 10 minutes to go in that one, 1-0 up.
Don't mush it, Barry. Giant mush. Big Christmas mush. Put your hat back on as well.
I'm under 2.5 goals. I'm on over 2.5 goals. Lucky hat. Yeah, I did have the hat on yesterday on my TikTok, and we landed a 44-1 winner. Did I tell you about that? 44-1.
You'd be sitting there. You're going to be sitting in that at Easter Baz still, because we're not letting you take that hat off while the luck's good. That is the lucky hat.
So yeah, Wolves hadn't been in great form all over the place, really. However, their away form has been quite consistent. They've lost 4 in a row and 5 of the last 6. So when I looked at this at first glance, I thought initially Wolves at 3-1 stood out, but their away form concerns me. The more I looked at it, I've sort of moved away from it. Brentford at home have been okay. They've won 3 of the last 5, and they scored 3 in each of those 3 wins as well. The 2 defeats were to Arsenal and Villa, so good sides have gone there and got results. But Wolves not at a similar level. I'm going to go for Brentford goals, team total, and it's evens for them to score 2 or more. Wolves have only had 1 clean sheet in 15 games in all competitions, which makes me think Brentford can definitely get that first one, and then we'll cheer on the second from there. So yeah, the pick for me, Brentford v Wolves, is Brentford to score 2 or more goals at evens.
This was just a very, very mid-table Class 1. Brentford lost 3 in a row, only 1 win in 6. That was against Luton. They're far too short the price to back on the money line. They've won 3 out of 9 at home. You can't back them at -1. They will be quite well rested, obviously having this game week off. Wolves have done what they always do. They're very, very competitive. Their form line, when you stick it up on whatever site you use, it's really, really colourful. Looks like a Caribbean flag, like the flag of Barbuda or somewhere, because it's all red, yellow, and green and pink stripes from win 1, lose 1, draw 1 on repeat, which is what Wolves do. So I was drawn to Wolves at the prices because I always am. I've got a bit of a soft spot for them, but they can't win away. They've lost 4 in a row away from home. Just really, really mid-table. But the draw stands out at 5-2 plus 250, and this is 100% Barry, the 1-1 of the week.
It's Malcolm's 1-1 of the week. Both teams scored a goal.
There we go. So the 1-1 of the week this week, having derelicted, is that a word? My duties last week on the Palace Brighton game. I'm back this week with the 1-1 Brentford against Wolves. Okay. Next up, Wednesday evening, Chelsea take on Crystal Palace. Chelsea are 4-7, -175. The draw is 3-1. Crystal Palace are 5-1. So handicapped kind of this before I saw Chelsea. Nothing's changed. They're just as bad as they have been all season. Under no circumstances can you rely on them. It's almost like a Manchester United situation. Like, no way you can back them. Absolutely. They might win. Can't back them. They've just gone out. Oosh, to clear it. It's away. So yeah, I haven't seen anything in this game or any other game that makes me want to back Chelsea at 4-7 against absolutely anyone. Do you know when the last time Crystal Palace won one, Baz?
No, you're going to tell me though.
November the 4th, Barry, is the answer. That's a long time ago, isn't it? A couple of decent draws in there. Draw against Manchester City, oddly. They got a draw against Brighton, West Ham. But Palace do pop up every now and again. Chelsea had a 0-2 against Brentford at home, which is a very kind of similar comparison game, I think, for me. Where Chelsea do struggle, Barry, is again, they can't break teams down with a low block. They just can't. And that's what Palace are going to do. They're not very adventurous. But Palace can pop up here. I'm going to go with Crystal Palace at 5-1, Barry.
Oh, nice. Interesting. I have no notes, so I'm glad you did. I was holding off to see how Chelsea got on today. And all that's done is solidify the small note that I made that just says under 2.5 goals at 19-20. Because Chelsea struggle to score, like. And they're doing it again today. And Kunku's been on most of the second half, I think. So he obviously hasn't made that difference yet.
But they battered Newcastle. Never made a chance, really, did they?
Yeah. And the thing is, I mean, people are clamouring for Sterling to be back in the England squad, talking like he's an absolute world this season.
Thanks.
Absolutely hopeless. Like, he's absolutely fluffed the best chance of the game in the first half again today.
Yeah.
It's just decision making, and the finishing isn't good enough. Not just from Sterling. I think Unders is just a good pick for this game. I never see Palace scoring many goals, and Chelsea don't look like running up a total themselves. So yeah, for me, under 2.5 at 19-20.
Yeah, like that, Baz. Solid, rock solid pick. A little bit later on Wednesday evening is Everton against Manchester City. That is 8:15, which will be 3:15 Eastern time. Everton are over the page. Everton 19-4 plus 475. The draw is 3-1. Manchester City are 4-7 minus 175. Baz.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of City at the moment. They haven't been very good either. And Everton continue to play very well. I still haven't seen the highlights from Everton's game yesterday. But a lot of people on TikTok Live last night were saying they were unlucky. They had some bad decisions.
They found themselves 2-0 down, Baz, after a bit of a sluggish start, and Tottenham caught them. After that, Everton played really, really well. And didn't really look like Everton as well. They were very attacking. They were quite expansive. They made chance after chance after chance. And there was the ball, 94% of the ball went over the line, which would have been an equaliser. However, that's not enough. But no, they looked like a decent side yesterday. Should never have found themselves 2-0 down. After that, it was an uphill climb. But for those 70 minutes, they were more than Tottenham's match.
Yeah, so I think for me, I didn't want to take anything on the money line here. I went for goals, and it's a little short. Again, it's 8-11 for over 2.5 goals, but it's not very often you get much over 1-2 for a Man City game for over 2.5. Normally, if you're going goals on Man City, you've got to take 3.5 or better than that. So 8-11 is the price I'm willing to take. I think it's something like 13 of the last 15 Man City games have gone over 2.5. Now, Everton have hit a few unders lately, but that's been mostly due to them keeping clean sheets. You'd always back City to score. So I don't think they'll get a clean sheet here. But you always think teams can score against City. And Everton, in their current form, playing well, can score against City as well. So the pick for me, Everton Man City, is over 2.5 goals at 8-11.
There's a couple of names in the chat throwing out Everton here. Frank likes it. Callum likes it. And I also like it as well. Like I say, they played really unlucky. They were very lucky just to score the one goal yesterday. And it's just a horrible spot for Manchester City. Everton have won 5 out of 8 at home, which is a very, very good record. City have won 1 out of 6 Premier League games. And that win was against Luton Town, which they struggled with. They've then been in Saudi, so that's not ideal. And Everton are going to compete against absolutely everybody. The way they're playing at home, see, it's the Boxing Day Christmas fixture, so they're going to be up for it. Yeah, Everton are a great price. I'm going to take Everton at 19-4 plus 475, along with several members of the comments here. I'm going to take Everton to cause a shock. The penultimate game on this slate, we move on to Thursday. We've got 2 games on Thursday night, 7:30, 2:30 Eastern time. Kick-off is Brighton against Tottenham Hotspur. Brighton 6-4 plus 150. The draw is 13-5 plus 260. And Tottenham are 8-5 plus 160. Brighton had another 1-1. They keep throwing out these 1-1s. Really, really middling form at the moment, Brighton. Doing a little bit better in Europe than they're doing in the Premier League. They've only won 4 of their 9 home games. I just don't want them at 6-4. Tottenham won 3 in a row. And what I quite like here with Tottenham is that the 3 different types of wins. So they bullied a very vulnerable Newcastle. They knew that we had some weaknesses and they just went for it and absolutely smashed us. They then had a really solid away win with a clean sheet at Nottingham Forest, which is something you wouldn't associate with Tottenham under Postecoglou. And then got in a shootout yesterday with Everton, came out quick. It did hang on. Everton played well. You've got to give Tottenham credit for hanging on. Neither team's going to change here. We know exactly how both teams are going to play. Therefore, Barry, I prefer Tottenham's attack and I prefer Tottenham's defence. Therefore, I prefer Tottenham. Tottenham 8-5 plus 160, Barry.
Yeah, similar sort of leans for me. My immediate look here was Spurs, who I just think are a better side in better form than Brighton at the moment. Brighton are always capable of pulling something out of the bag, particularly at home, where they are unbeaten in 8 games, Brighton. So that was the little concern for me on the Spurs side of it. They do always concede, though, as we know. At least in the league, they do. They've had a couple of clean sheets in European games. So I was also leaning towards Spurs, but I've went for the team total instead. Instead of backing them on the money line, I'm getting Spurs to score 2 or more at 5-6. Spurs have done it in 4 of their last 5 games. And they'd also hit a long streak of hitting 2 goals in a game at the start of the season. As I say, with Brighton, you know they're always going to concede. So you get that first one almost as a banker. Can Spurs get the second? Yes, they can. Brighton v Spurs. Spurs to score 2 or more at 5-6.
Throwing my arms around here. The ball's pinging round the Wolves. Keeper's ball. Yes, here we go. I was going to say, if it's gone 90 minutes now, if we handicap the next game really slowly, we could live cash both of our underdogs. However, the fourth official's just put up 11 minutes of added time, so we can't handicap them that slowly. Because Bournemouth and Wolves were our 2 underdog players this week. Bournemouth's cashed. Wolves 1-0 up with 11 minutes of stoppage time to go. The final game on this slate, 8:15 on Thursday, 3:15 Eastern, is Arsenal taking on West Ham United. Arsenal 1-3, -300. The draw is 92 plus 450. West Ham 7-1, Barry.
I'm trying to get my notes. The starting point for me was Arsenal's home form. They're unbeaten in the league so far. And they're also on a 7-game winning streak now. 7 of the last 10 games have also seen them win by 2 or more goals. So the home form is really, really solid. West Ham have just lost their last 2 away games, 5-0 and 5-1. Now, obviously, one of those games was in the League Cup weekend side against Liverpool. So you take that one with a pinch of salt. But the 5-0 against Fulham was alarming. In the league, West Ham have been beaten by Villa, Fulham, and Liverpool by 2 or more goals. Similar sort of, Villa, Liverpool, similar sort of area of the league to Arsenal. I think Arsenal can do something similar here. West Ham are in good form, but they have shown capability to throw in a stinker and not particularly play very well. I think Arsenal win comfortably here. I like Arsenal on the handicap, -1.5 at 10-11.
Well, it's taken us 48 minutes, I think, Baz, but we've ended up on entirely different sides of this one because I took West Ham plus 1.5. So, yeah, no help to anyone here. Good at home, Arsenal, 1-7 drawn 2, undefeated. Not fluent, though, not scoring tons of goals. West Ham are up to 6th in the league, Barry. Chance! Yes! 2-0, get in the queue. Wallop. Yes, and I paused after 30 seconds, so no one. They knew already. Callum spoiled it that time. I haven't seen it. Get in there. Happy Christmas. Wow, what a beautiful. If there's a podcast Hall of Fame, Barry, they can put this fucker straight in there. As soon as you go in the door on the right, Premier League Gambling Podcast, episode number 139 is in the podcast Hall of Fame. But what we're talking about, Arsenal. Yeah, West Ham up to 6th. Won 5 of the last 7. The 2 they lost were a little bit weird. And the cup performance was inexplicable. Like, I do not know what they tried at Liverpool in the week. But I think they can hang in here to Derby. And like I said, I just think I think West Ham can hang with them. Obviously, you think the other, so it's not a hugely strong lead. West Ham plus 1.5. It's 8-9 -112. They'll want to get a bit of Declan Rice as well. They'll give him a bit of a shoe-in, I think. West Ham. They're a much better team when they've got their full strength team out, really. They haven't got much of a squad, but they go full tilt and they can live with Arsenal, who haven't been prolific. So I'll take West Ham as my final play. Barry, right, we don't have to drag it out now. Dogs, goal scorers, and that all-important Barry's winning parlay in my 262-1 massive losing parlay. What order do you want to do this, Baz?
Yeah, I haven't got a massive 40-1 pick this week. However, if I do look, I will have to look at cards again now. So I might tweet something out. I'll put it in TikTok or whatever. So keep an eye out. I'll stick it in Discord or on Twitter if I do find the cards pick. But yeah, back-to-back winning trebles, Malcolm. I had a team total last week and a 44 to 1 this week. If I haven't already mentioned it, Malcolm, I had a 44 to 1 winner.
I don't think I can't remember you mentioning it, but
that buys me a lot of credit. So that's all good. Start off with a scorer, and it's a bit of an obvious one, really. Solanke for Bournemouth. Bit of an obvious one because he scored a hat-trick the other day. But 2 to 1 anytime scorer against Fulham. Looks a really big price. He's only 11 to 2 for first goal. And it just seems like those two prices are a bit too close together. So Solanke anytime at 2 to 1, I think is a great pick. And take him at 11 to 2 for first goal scorer as well. Underdog for me, I really struggled with the underdogs. You've put a few out, so I think you'll have had no problem. I wasn't hot on any of the underdogs, so I have went for Luton in a game where I've taken both to score. So Luton to nick that one against Sheffield United would be my underdog pick. So Luton is the underdog at 21 to 10. And a treble is an over 2.5 treble. It's the Bournemouth Fulham game, Brentford v Wolves game, and Everton v Man City. Comes in at 5 to 1. That treble. So over 2.5 in Bournemouth Fulham, Brentford Wolves, Everton Man City, 5 to 1.
You've gone from a 40 to 1 to a 5 to 1. Oh, that doesn't matter. We've already been paid out.
I put over 2.5 on. Well,
does that cash your bet?
Who had the over 2.5? Yes.
Move this podcast one plinth forward in that Hall of Fame, Barry. There's another little winner on there. Right, my underdog. I have got plenty to choose from. Tottenham a bigger price than Brighton, which is mad. But plus 160 seems a bit skinny for an underdog, doesn't it? Because it's barely an underdog. I'm going to take Everton, 19 to 4, plus 475. I'm a big fan of Everton, always have been, you know that. So Everton to beat a vulnerable Manchester City side. For my goal scorer, I'm going to take Cameron Archer at Sheffield United. So I took him at Chelsea 2 weeks ago. He obviously didn't score and they got beat. I then ignored him and he scored at Villa. So I'm going to go back to him again because this is a bit of a softer opposition. They play Luton Town at home. He is 11 to 2 plus 550 to score first and last. And 9 to 4 plus 225 anytime goal scorer. He's the centre forward. They're playing a little bit better. Luton concede goals. So yeah, I'll take Cameron Archer. And this is the parlay, Barry. I've got two options here. The first one, well, I'm going to say it's a bit mad. It is 262 to 1. But I've got an even madder one, which is 240 to 1. The 240 to 1's a bit more maverick. What I've got here, Baz, is both teams to score times 10. Quite straightforward. So all 10 Premier League games have both teams to score. That pays 262 to 1. However, I don't think Nottingham Forest are going to score, Baz. I think we're going to beat them 2-0. So if you leave that game out, that then reduces the odds to 133 to 1. Pause. Both teams to score in 9 games, and you take no in the Newcastle Forest game, gets you back up to 240 to 1. So I'm going to take both teams to score in all 9 games except Newcastle Forest, and that one's a no. That's 240 to 1. But I would just put a pizza bet on both teams to score in all 10 games at 262 to 1, just in case Forest nick one, because that would be a very, very harsh loss, Barry, if Forest scored and that let us down. So at the prices, I think we can afford to split our stakes on those two things, Baz.
Nice, ambitious. I bet Brian's frantically putting a couple of dollars on that now, so he doesn't miss out this week. Yeah, good stuff. As I say, I'll have to have a look for cards. If I don't put out this week for cards, we'll revisit it for the new year fixtures. Definitely, that might have to become a feature now, mightn't it? We put out one cards treble, and it's won.
Yeah.
44 to 1 as well, Malcolm. I don't know if I mentioned that. But yeah, we'll have to make that a feature.
Serial was asking, I think tongue in cheek, for some American football picks. Do you know the 6 o'clock stay tonight, Serial? Underdogs is the answer. Texans, Vikings, Panthers, Colts, Titans, Commanders. 2 or 3 of those underdogs are going to win. So there's your early slate NFL plays. Slicker is asking, what, 9 both teams to score and the 2-0 exact score. Oh, shit. So what, 133 to 1 times 7? Round about 1,100 to 1, Rick. And if that hits, we will see you in Barbados on for New Year's Eve. We'll have New Year's Eve in Barbados when that hits, Rick. Get your passport out. Cheers, Baz. Well done, everybody. What a really, really fun show to end on. Mainly fueled by all the winners we've picked, which is quite important. I know it's not the be-all and end-all. We are here for shenanigans and to foster community spirit, but it's 10 times easier when we've picked some winners, Baz. And like I say, I think we did well on all kinds of fronts, and the listeners did as well. So absolutely delighted. Plus all your TikTok people, Barry, fantastic for them as well. Any Christmas news before we go away?
No, but it's smelling very Christmassy in here because whilst we've been going, I've had the Christmas ham boiling away with some cinnamon, coriander seed, peppercorns, bay leaf. So I've got all those Christmas flavours darting around now. So yeah, I've got a bit of Christmas prep to do. It all felt a bit strange. It felt like it should be Christmas today. Yesterday, it definitely felt like Christmas Eve. I sat around all day yesterday doing nothing but watch football, and I felt like I should be busy doing stuff. I feel quite well organised. But yeah, get a bit of organisation done. We've got kids wanting to watch a Christmas film tonight. So that'll be on the cards. I will crack open a bottle of wine, possibly even a bottle of champagne. And have a little festive drink and a bit of cheese. Lots of cheese on the go tonight, Malcolm. I've got a brie. I've got a Comté. A nice vintage cheddar. And a smoked
cheese. Like I've got a nice Gouda in there, a nice aged Gouda. And then there's this French thing. It's so gooey and horrible. It's come in its own like cardboard packaging because it's already leaking everywhere. So yeah, I'm looking forward to getting amongst that. Yeah, proper stinky. Yeah, it's when you open the fridge, it gets your eyebrows like.
And goes mad. I got one of those last year, French one in a little wooden box, and it was beautiful, but it did stink like proper sweaty socks smell.
I think I remember that actually.
And Helen was going mad every time she opened the fridge. All she got was this big whiff of cheese. So I've been banned from the stinky French cheese this year.
It's bad. Right. Lots of people in the chat saying Merry Christmas. We echo all that. Merry Christmas to all of our followers. Hopefully we can have another fun slate, pick some winners between now and my next chat. But yeah, Meg and Baz appreciate unbelievably everyone getting involved. That's the main thing. Get involved. Because the show doesn't exist otherwise. It's pointless. We would just sit and do this in the pub because we have done that for 30 years. So we could do that if you want. Or we'll just sit and do it and you can all join in as well. So that's kind of the point. So good luck with your picks. Have a fantastic Christmas. We'll be back. Who knows? We'll be back before the next round of games. Keep your eyes peeled. But until then, we will see you down the road. Cheers.